know what one of the most frequent questions that we receive from our clients is? Do you have a real estate operating agreement that we can use? What we decided to do, because we receive that question so frequently, is collect hundreds of operating agreements from clients across the country and isolate the provisions within those agreements that are important for your group's physician-owned real estate. In the next few minutes, I'm going to be taking you through a step-by-step guide as to the tool that was created as part of that process called our Real Estate Operating Agreement Decision Tree. So let's take a look. The guide includes 5 categories containing a total of over 75 potential questions. In this video, we will show a path of questions and answers through a portion of 2 of those categories: general partnership and share valuation. The first of those questions is contained in the general partnership section. The question reads, does the ownership of the real estate have to be equal? You can see within the question there are advantages of equal ownership as well as advantages of disparate ownership to help guide the user on some of the implications of answering the question one way or the other. You'll also see on some questions there are embedded articles, and you can click on the articles in order to gain a little bit more insight as to some of the implications of going in one direction or the other. So I'm going to answer this question by saying, no, I don't want the ownership to be equal, and therefore I'm asked an additional conditional question, which is there a required minimum level of investment to become an owner in the real estate? I'm going to click no again, and finally I'm asked another question which is conditional based off of my previous answers. If I decide at this point that I want to move back and change one of my initial answers, and instead I want to say yes, I do want equal ownership for the real estate, and I click yes, you can see that there's a different pathway of conditional questions that arises, and in fact in this case there are no conditional questions as a result of asking for equal ownership. We're now going to look at a question that populates in the share valuation section. As you can see, some of the questions will have drop-down options which allow you to see various different alternatives. I'm going to click income capitalization, and that takes me to another question which requires actually a written number in order to be entered. Oftentimes the most rigorous and well-tested operating agreements result from taking the documented decisions and putting them into a working economic model to show the physician outcomes on an individual and entity basis. That's exactly what we do with our clients when they enter a valuation methodology into this operating agreement tool, such that they have a quantifiable model to lean upon during the decision-making process. I'm going to put 8%. Another question populates. I'm going to say yes. And that brings us to the end of the truncated version of the operating agreement decision guide. Remember, I've just shown you a very small portion of the form. If you'd like to access the full version with over 75 decision-making questions, please feel free to reach out to grant@cmacpartners.com or call CMAC at 407-264-7255. Thanks so much for listening.